Hello, everyone. We are here for Bruce Lee's script, and today is a Roman Sunday, 13th of August, 2023. I'm joined with Michael here in Germany, and we just can't get enough of Bruce Lee, Michael and I, and we are back to delve back into all the hype surrounding his death, and hopefully clear up some issues, right, Michael?
Yeah, I have to contradict. I'm so busy with that project. I'm glad when everything is said and done, but we have to approach a long way until we get to the final things that we can combine it with other facts, and then you see the big picture. And that's my concern is just that you really see that the Bible is correct and that these are all false images, false idols, which it's just interesting to go into, but I'm glad when we have other projects coming down which really would help you in other ways, and we will not like to deal only with the death and horror and all these negative evil things in the world. But so be it. We got the next sessions coming up. This is session 126, the 21st session on Bruce Lee. Can you believe it? So, where were we last time? We were in the July 20th, the supposed, or the official, at least official date of death of Bruce Lee. So, let's get it on.
Yeah, Michael, I'll just put a little caveat in there. If any of you out there unfamiliar with the Bible and you want to take a read, there is a quote we can give you from 1 John 5:21. And that quote, little children, keep yourselves from idols. Amen. I think that's what you're getting to, Michael.
Yeah, that goes for every idol, singer, pop star, sportsman,
That's right.
What else?
Anything.
What
Heaven and on earth. We're not supposed to make images and make things from our hands to worship, right? This is what the scriptures is alerting us to, is that keep yourselves from idolatry, which means, loving the image, the idol, the whatever it is, you love it more than your creator, you have trouble. Right, Michael?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, people do not read books anymore. They just would like to get kept busy by the government, by cinema, entertainment. And we hope that we can use also this form of YouTube, BitChute, whatever.
Yeah. You know what else is good is 5:19 here. And we know that we are of God, and the whole world lieth in wickedness. I mean, it's really just this simple. We live in an increasingly wicked world. Why is that? Well, because there is a certain spirit on the rise. And that spirit is not the Holy Spirit, I'm afraid. Well, it could be that the Holy Spirit will be on the rise, but that has to do with those individuals out there that find the truth in Christ, in the Spirit of Christ, that are born of the Spirit. People that are born of the Spirit, they know they're clay, they're not iron, and they know that they need to repent, but they don't know how. I know I've been in this position, Michael. Didn't know how I'd do it. Stuck in a concrete jungle. Takes a long time to untangle yourselves from the yoke of bondage. And it's a strong yoke these days. So I have pity on us, wherever we are in this world and whatever age we might be. This is not an easy thing to grasp, but it is very important, very, very important to grasp that we have a lot of problems, and they're only getting worse by the moment because we have that spirit, that evil spirit is on the rise. I think it's obvious now, Michael. It should be. Anyway, Michael, go ahead. It's all yours.
Oh, I'm glad when I can give it away. Yeah,
Yes,
I don't,
yes.
I don't want it, but
Well, see,
once.
that's what we hope, is that you listeners out there are going to stick with us in this journey that we're on, acquiring all the information, because it's a load, you know. It's not an easy thing, but at the same time, it's not all that hard either. You just got to spend the time. It's a question of time, you know. Maybe you want to listen to this while you're, you know, on the road or something, and you just don't have the time. Well, maybe you can make time, you know, when you're busy doing something else. You can just listen on the side and accompany with us. And maybe if there's something of interest, you can pause the recording and or take a note of it and come back to it later. That's what I do. I'm just giving you a little insights on how I listen to different medias. If there's something of interest to me, I always write it down on a scrap if I'm driving, and take note of it if I can. And there are times I can't, because you don't want accidents while you're driving, right, Michael? I got to be careful. But that's just a little insight on how I approach it. But yeah, there's a lot of media out there at the moment. So pretty amazing that people find our work, Michael, and it's a pleasure to serve in this way, because you just never know who we might reach out there in the world, because there are people that are really struggling. And I know I was for many years. So I do have remorse about, you know, a lot of things. And I also have pity for others. And that's the reason I do this work, Michael. And I don't expect any reward at all, actually. I just do it for the love of Christ.
Yeah, for the love of truth, actually, because Christ is the truth, and therefore
Yes,
we are
that's
digging deeper and deeper and deeper. And we hope that we can be of service for all the people who are being fed up with all the lies portrayed by all this media stuff. And
the
all
family, too, for that matter, because, you know, the family is so divided. And it says right in Scripture that our families are divided, and that, you know, there's brother against father and mother against daughter kind of thing. And you know, you can expect you're going to have times in your life where you're going to be in big disagreements with members of your family. And it's comforting to know that there's Scripture to back that up. And don't feel alone, because you're going to join a large group of people worldwide that are also in the same situation. So that's what I feel is important, Michael, is that we all come together and communicate with one another. I know I shut off the comment section, but don't worry, I'll open it up at some time. But I think right now is not the appropriate time.
Okay. So last time we remarked that the 20th of July is, according to several strange things happening on that day, most likely not the day that he died, and at least most likely not in the whereabouts and the circumstances that the media is presenting us with. Betty Ting Pei serving most likely as a patsy. So let's get it on. What can we do further? Peter Lee, his older brother, there's a little bit repetition, observed that he had small bruise on his neck. Wong Shong Leong, a fellow Wing Chun student, noticed that there were lumps all over his body. That Wong Shong Leong was actually the real teacher of Bruce Lee, not Yip Man, but the real teacher. Bruce Lee wrote in a letter to Wong, even though I am technically a student of Ip Man, in reality I learned my kung fu from you. Wong was believed to have carried the letter in his wallet. Perhaps the best known letter from Lee to Wong is of 11 January 1970, which has been translated into English as an appendix to an article by Wong. This Wong Chong Leong has an article, of course. He was a Hong Kong martial artist who studied Wing Chun Kung Fu under Yip Man and was credited with training Bruce Lee. In interviews, he has claimed to won at least 60 and perhaps over 100 street fights against martial artists of various styles, though these numbers cannot be independently confirmed. Due to his reputation, his students and admirers refer him as Gong Sao Wong, the king of talking heads. Remember this pop group, huh? David Byrne. Wong recorded one instructional film entitled Wing Chun, the Science of Infighting. Grandmaster Ip Man once spoke to Wong after Lee achieved superstardom. Without your guidance and encouragement, Bruce Lee wouldn't be having such achievement. Bruce Lee once wrote in a letter to Wong, even though I am technically a student of Ip Man, in reality I learned my kung fu from you. Wong was believed to have carried the letter in his wallet. Perhaps the best known letter from Lee to Wong is that of 11 January 1970, which has been translated into English as an appendix to an article by Wong. And in this letter, which you can look up on Wikipedia, I may make a trip to Hong Kong. I hope that you will live in the same place. We are intimate friends. We need to meet more and chat about our past days. That will be a lot of fun. When you see Master Yip, please send my regards to him. Happiness be with you. On 22nd November 1957, 22nd of November, the inaugural Taiwan, Hong Kong, Macau Open Chinese Kung Fu competition was held in Taiwan. 32 competitors from Hong Kong and Macau formed a team and participated in this competition, but only 2 Hong Kong competitors scored a victory. Wong competed in his weight class and had a preliminary match with Wu Ming-yit, a Taiwanese fighter known for his powerful kicks, but was knocked out and eliminated. A documentary film covering the competition was played in Hong Kong, with the first day showing on 12th February 1958. In 1974, Unicorn Chan recalled that it was in 1958 when Bruce Lee took him to watch a documentary film on Kung Fu competitors, and that Lee had watched it 7 times before within the last 4 days. So, this man is not a secret, but this man is the official teacher of Mr. Bruce Lee. Wang Kam-leong witnessed the fight Wong fought with Bruce Lee when Lee returned to Hong Kong from the United States. It took place at Lee's home in Kowloon Tong. Wong claimed that his hands and feet were faster acting than Lee's. However, Bruce retaliated by saying his kicks were much faster. So, at least they have met. Some sources claim that Wong choreographed some fight scenes in Enter the Dragon, but that seems not to be correct. None of these interviewees, including B. Chan, one of Lee's most trusted assistants, Shek Kin, that was playing Han with that artificial hand, and Chaplin Chang mentioned that Wong had been invited to work as a fight scene choreographer on Enter the Dragon. But a photograph of them implies that Wong was present during filming. Wong received an invitation to appear in Game of Death but declined. He was scheduled to attend a screen test on the set of Enter the Dragon after Bruce Lee had finished shooting the film and was working on dubbing. Lee returned to Hong Kong from his last trip to the United States of America in late May 1973. Thus, Wong would have attended a screen test sometimes in June 1973. Wong recalled, about 2 months before Bruce Lee died, he gave me a phone call. After this, he left Hong Kong to settle his film business. When he came back, he called me up and wanted me to participate in the making of Game of Death. He had also invited me to the studio to attend a screen test. I did not promise to act in the film yet. I still went to attend a screen test to please him. In a 1986 interview, Wong said, I told Bruce Lee that I didn't want to go and die in my first movie. I wasn't in dire financial straits at the time, so I didn't have to do the film just to make money. The role of Lee's final opponent was thus played by basketball star that 7'2" giant Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. In another interview, Wong said it was for Game of Death, but I declined because I thought that the moves of Wing Chun style wouldn't look good on film. I think the Wing Chun method is ugly for movies, but very good and very logical for real fighting, so be it. Wong Chong Leong. You find an interview with him about Bruce Lee, Wing Chun and Jeet Kune Do, being the martial arts of Bruce Lee. He said, at the end, so after Bruce Lee died, they took out his corpse. There was this white blanket covering him. So I pulled down the blanket down here, and I can't see it because that picture frame is limited here, so I guess until the hips or so. So I pulled down the blanket down here. His arms were crossed and placed here, and I said, oh, that is interesting. Let's continue. And I uncovered his feet. His toes were cramped together, like his entire body were in cramp. So there is an H too much, so his entire body were in cramp. Boo, I thought to myself, and I talked to Brett about it yesterday, and I said, oh, that's hard pill to swallow, because no one else up to now had told me that his toes were cramped together and the entire body was in cramp. What to make out of it? He said,
well, I would think, Michael, correct me if I'm wrong, but there's definitely some kind of straining he was doing at the last moments then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All his muscles were contracting then, and he was just in probably excruciating pain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. His muscles were all bloated. That's Mr. Wong Shung Leong. I suspect that he were in cramp when he died. So there can be several reasons, but don't come up with the idea that it's an idiosyncratic reaction to one tablet of Equagesic. So you can throw out that theory out of the window. And now, maybe to save himself from any allegations, he says, as far as I know, he suffered from this illness. Remember, when Patrick Wong was doing and taking that picture for his magazine, for his tabloid, he was allowed only to picture the face of Bruce Lee and not his entire body. But in the strange case of Wong Shung Leong, he said that he has seen the body and he has seen the feet, and he were all cramped together, and that his muscles were all bloated. And now I think, it's my suggestion, he says, as far as I know, he suffered from this illness, and maybe that was his suggestion or his combination, or him saving all the things that he has said previously when he was a kid. Yeah, he had this illness from when he was a kid. Yeah, so which illness? Yeah, because I happen to know that officially Bruce Lee went in late May to UCLA and to the neurosurgeon Dr. Rice board, and they had several medical tests, and he passed that with flying colors. So that the doctor said, you got a health as a 30-year-old Chinese male like an 18-year-old. And he didn't know what was the cause of the seizure on May the 10th in the dubbing studios of Golden Harvest when he was rushed to the hospital. And then he was saved by administering him mannitol, which flushed out all the sodium out of his system. So with peeing with his urine and all the stuff, because they did not know what caused the brain swelling, brain edema. So he comes up here, Wong Shung Leong, he comes up with, he had this illness from when he was a kid. But I remember that Bruce Lee never had any epileptic seizures in his youth. He was just administered to get his daily dosage of 3 tablets of an anti-epileptic tablet. But there was no that was the first time on May the 10th. That was never ever before. So I do not know what kind of illness Mr. Wong Shung Leong speaks about, or if he would like just to, quote unquote, save his face, yeah, until he was being accused of spilling out some secrets, because he, at least in my humble opinion or in my knowledge, he is the only one I found who said that he has seen the corpse of Bruce Lee, and not only the face, but muscles, hands, feet, etc. Interesting. So what is he hiding? Maybe there are some other things, but he just says, okay, he gets rid of all the accusation, which could be followed in just saying that Bruce Lee had a illness from where he was a kid. Yeah. Great, huh? So you don't name anything particular. You just get away by washing it away like with a general phrase that, yeah, he had an illness when he was a kid. Yeah, he had several illnesses when he was a kid, and one leg was shorter than the other and all the stuff, but you see that was not the cause of the illness, most likely. And I know that his wife, Linda Lee, the wife of Bruce Lee, said that he has not gotten his pills for the epileptic seizure on July the 20th, which is, of course, very hilarious when you think of that most probably he died on the 19th, so he could not take his tablets, his pills, Brett, huh?
I guess not.
Yeah, so you see that the people do not lie, but they just withheld much information. Also in the case of Wang Xiongleong, maybe he could have his own opinion, but he wouldn't not dare to tell it on camera. We can be glad that he said something in the camera, like he was in cramp when he died. So something happens. It was not peacefully in sleep. Yeah, it must have been a violent death. Yeah, there must have something happened. That which caused us soon, very soon, to our next level of investigation here.
Yeah, and that's only according to his testimony, and yeah, that's a tough one because sometimes people give false testimony too. So
at least we got now an interview of Wang Xiongleong, and we got a picture of Patrick Wang. Of course, everything can be faked. But you have to use common sense, and you will subtract all the quotes and see where are they fitting and where are they just contradicting themselves, and that's what we gonna do. Yeah. Starting with this, he says his arms were crossed and placed here. That, of course, must remind me of the rejection of Jesus Christ. That is a special pose coming out of Satanism in many ways.
Oh, by the way, now that we're on this topic, did you have a picture of Pope Francis's silver cross that he wears available? I can get it for you if you don't.
It's a little bit large.
That's perfect, yeah.
So
you can shrink it, yeah. There you go.
The incredible shrinking cross.
So here's the deal. You notice the dove at the top?
Mm-hmm.
You know that's a sign in Freemasonry? As well. They give you the exoteric explanation that this is the Holy Spirit descending on Christ.
Mm-hmm. But that would have appeared in the water when John the Baptist was baptizing Jesus Christ, but not on the field with some sheep. So there is some error in it as well.
Oh, of course. Well, not only that, but I know that's somehow symbolic with Freemasonry.
Mm-hmm.
The dove in that position, in a downward position.
Mm-hmm.
That's definitely some symbolism there that is esoteric, and I don't know the meaning behind it at the moment, but definitely you can see the shepherd crossing his arms in the same pose.
Mm-hmm.
So what does that mean? The shepherd is rejecting Christ.
Yeah, it's the opposite of giving somebody comfort, of hugging somebody. Yeah, you see that's the opposite. That means the rejection of anybody here.
Wow! So this is Pope Francis's cross, the Jesuit Pope's cross, and not only Pope Francis wears this, but a lot of people in the Vatican wear this.
Yeah, you see that in Freemasonry, that dove officially has been seen as a messenger from Noah.
Oh yeah, it was Tony Palmer. You remember Tony Palmer?
Yes.
He was wearing this cross with Pope Francis.
Mm-hmm.
They were friends, they're good buddies before he died. Yeah, Tony Palmer died, I think, in 2014, 2015.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere in there. I forget when. But yeah, he died in a motorcycle accident. He was a Anglican bishop who was on a very prominent television preacher here in the United States named, boy, what was his name again? Forget his name, Michael.
No, I'm not familiar with that guy, but I know.
Kenneth Copeland. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, Kenneth Copeland. Yes.
Yeah, you're familiar with him now,
Yeah,
I'm sure.
I know that Kenneth Copeland. Yes, I made some remarks about him and his money ministry. Yeah.
So yeah, if you look, research him a little bit, you'll find that he was in the Vatican with Pope Francis, and he was wearing this cross. And yeah, it says everything about what they're into. The protest is over, Michael. That's what he said.
Yeah.
And you can mark him as Antichrist, spirit of Antichrist. That's what this is, spirit of Antichrist. What did we say in the beginning of the session? The whole world lieth in wickedness. Yeah, it does.
It's
a
problem.
Wicked world.
The problem is really
wicked church. Wicked church. Wicked people.
I searched the phrase of crossed hands in coffins in China, and I found not a general idea if that is being usually done or not. But you see, if you cross your hands in front of you, that means always that you want to block something, that you don't want to do anything with anybody, so that you want to be yourself. You're hugging yourself, you see? More or less. That would be, for a dead one, that could be the meaning could be Osiris risen, yeah, which is a superstitious belief in the so-called Egyptian trinity of Isis and Horus and Set, or actually Osiris, Isis and Horus, but Osiris has been slain by his brother. You see that they are just copying the biblical story of Cain and Abel a bit. And then he was being cut into 14 pieces. 13 have been found, 14 is missing, which is his fellows. And Osiris Risen is in many, many books, also from Aleister Crowley and all the so-called magicians, which are nothing else than trying to be messengers from the fallen spirits. I know that in occultism, or in paganism actually, Jesus Christ and Satan are not being handled the way they are, actually. Because they just want to reject Christ, and of course then they want to reject also Satan as not existing, which is the oldest trick of Satan, that he wants the people not to believe in himself. From a book which I have here from Taxi Mars, which also is not handing over the exact Christian belief, but he has a book called Ravaged by the New Age, which I have not implemented in the script, which I can read. He says here, due to the education system, also children learn that Jesus never really battled with the devil. In fact, there is no devil. The term devil just symbolizes the other half, the lower self of all the people. Quote unquote, Jesus was tempted in the wilderness by the devil. The wilderness symbolizes the material world, and the devil symbolizes our lower selfish side. Yeah, so that's just what many people believe, that Jesus did not exist. If he exists, he would just be a regular human man. He had no divine order. He was not the only begotten Son of God, and there is no devil. Yeah, so that
Spirit of Antichrist.
Spirit of Antichrist, yes.
Yes. There is no Christ.
Yeah, and so Osiris Risen is a ritual. Yeah? It's a ritual that this means that he has been risen now. Yeah, he is slain, so he's falling here in the first part of that story, of that legend. Yeah, Osiris is slain, and then we cut in 14 pieces. Then his wife Isis is mourning. This is the hand pose of mourning. Then the Apophis, so Apophis was the ancient Egyptian deity who embodied darkness and disorder and was thus the opponent of light. So the opponent of Jesus Christ, actually. He appears in art as a giant serpent. Yeah. And this is coming from, let me guess, from the Book of the Dead.
Oh, yeah.
The Book of the Dead does not frequently describe occasions when Ra defeated the Chaos Snake, explicitly called Apep. Yeah, so in any way, shape, or form, yeah, when you see a serpent and all the stuff, you know that it's a disguise for Satan. You can get to know so many things, and when you depict the dragon also, what is a dragon other than a firing, flying serpent? Yeah, there are so many resemblances that this legendary animals or mythology.
Really like that cover, Michael, of that book, T-Money.
Yeah.
That's a really good representation of a dragon.
Yeah. He knows much because he has lived together with the widow of Bruce Lee. Yeah, you see that
that's right.
Yeah, if somebody comes up with things and many things out of his books have years later been proven. They're worshipping the dragon as a mythological animal in Asia. Yeah, why? Why?
Very good question, Michael.
Of course, he gives power and money and everything you find in Luke 4 and Matthew 4. Yeah? We know what the dragon is. It's been depicted in 2 times in Revelation, actually. 1 time in Revelation 13. The next time, a little bit later, I can't remember if it is which chapter it was. I think the first one is 12, not 13. Yeah, there you got. Yeah. Serpent, devil, Satan, dragon, everything is the same. So, Osiris risen, and then means, okay, Osiris has been risen because Isis, Isis' wife, has such a power to rise him again, or would rise him again, but she cannot find his most vital part, which is the part of the male phallus, which is, of course, the part for fertility. And everything in pagan forms, pagan rituals, is fertility rituals, sex magic. It's all about ritual, all about fornication, and all about reproduction. They see the female as the creator of life, which is, of course, futile, but they don't see it. Then you can raise the question, okay, who has born the first female? Then you got stuck, huh? Why? Because you can't explain where the first human have evolved, unless you believe the Freemason hilarious example of the grandfather of this guy from the evolution theory, Erasmus Darwin, yeah, not Charles Darwin, but Erasmus Darwin, who was a Freemason. Yeah, so these people are just putting out some legends, and they are notorious lying about the origin of the earth and the meaning of life, actually. So here see you the same pose with the famous magician Aleister Crowley, and he's not only a magician, he's much more than that. He makes also the pose of Osiris risen, and you see that he has a strange head, and he was also in Egypt in the beginning of the 20th century doing some rituals there. And here you see the Beatles, which is a fabrication of Great Britain. Remember, Great Britain has something to do with Hong Kong, because Hong Kong has been occupied in 1973 by Great Britain for decades, with a small intervention of the Japanese occupation. And this is just from the cover Help. Yeah, and many people believe, oh yeah, these are special signs, but it has nothing to do with these signs. Yeah, that would mean NUGV, NUGV. Yeah, and this would mean help. Yeah, but this is, I have to decrease a bit. Yeah, this has nothing to do with help. Yeah, this means NUGV, or in other terms, yeah, this means just the Osiris ritual.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Man.
Yeah, so the Beatles is a fabrication of several United Kingdom governments, especially also from the Tavistock Institute, and being run by the Jesuits. And it's very interesting when you know there's a fifth Beatle, so to speak, from the Jesuits, the manager. What's the name? George Martin, is it?
Yeah, and meanwhile, the millions of fans will be stalking you down to kill you.
Yeah, this is George Martin.
You just destroyed my idol. I love these guys.
Yeah, this is George Martin.
I don't care if he's a Freemason. I love him still.
Yeah, and this is George Martin. He was CBE and he was a Jesuit, as far as I know. And you see here the Beatles. And it is very interesting because the same guy who did that autopsy on Sharon Tate, Mr. Noguchi, the coroner for the Stars, he did also the autopsy on the late deceased Beatles former manager called Brian Epstein, who died at the age of 32, same age as
Bruce Lee.
Bruce Lee, yeah.
Wow.
So everybody is fooling you, and we come to the conclusion that this cross arms could have a special meaning in a ritual. Beatles being also Freemasons, yeah, with the second veil, hidden hand. Pop culture, the manager was Jesuit George Martin, the fifth Beatles, equivalent to the fifth angel of Revelation. Mind control as the Tavistock Institute. John Lennon played the Antichrist. Hence the name of the Apostle John or the Apostle Paul, Paul McCartney, born 18th of June. And they have also some similarities to Sharon Tate, yeah, and Jane Asher, McCartney's girlfriend in the masquerade of the Red Death. That's not all, because the Beatles have not been named after their haircut, but most likely because they were making their records on the Abbey Road. Abbey, like religion, there is a big obelisk standing there. In Egyptian mythology, the dung beetle Khepri pushes the sun in the sky, is associated with revolution, and has the reference to Aleister Crowley's book, The Winged Beetle, stands for thalamus in the brain. And so it's no wonder maybe that Antichrist Adolf Hitler, or he played the evil one, promoted the Volkswagen Beetle. And in Rosemary's Baby, that movie of Roman Polanski, who did take private lessons of Bruce Lee, by the way, he dies, Victoria dies. In the movie Rosemary's Baby, of the birth of the Antichrist, she dies at the Volkswagen Beetle as a symbol of death and generation. Oh, there's so much to explore. The Beatles did publish their White album, White Means Spirit album, which is officially the spark which ignited then Charles Manson. He saw it as a secret revelation to start his war. Exactly 5 years on the 22nd of November, when you know that 33 is the highest rank in the Scottish Rite from the Freemasons. Yeah, you just add 22 plus 11 for the months, and you get, of course, 33. And there are so many things going on with the Beatles. It's unbelievable. Yeah, many people do not get it, and you won't get it because it's not meant to be that you get it. Yeah, everything has a purpose.
Well, can I make a comment there?
Every time.
Yeah, I think one of the main problems with rock and roll and the whole scene there is you have again the abuse of drugs and alcohol, and that plays a major role in taking you off guard, so you no longer have your discernment. Once you're under that influence, your discernment is gone, and any spirit can just walk on in and start toying around with your mind. That's how it works, and it's very dangerous. Very dangerous. That's why the Bible is so specific about sobriety. Sobriety is the first step to any serious remorse. You can't have remorse if you're going to be toying around with drugs and alcohol, man. You can't.
Yeah. Many people confuse this picture and says, oh yeah, this is the Scottish Rite of Freemasons. Look, Paul is walking barefoot, and that means that he's dead. Yeah, because in their ritual, the people in the coffin are just without any socks and any shoes. But think of that. That is just deception. It's quite easy here because it's first of all it's the Abbey Road. Second of all, there is a big obelisk which you do not see because the obelisk represents the Phallus of Osiris, the 14th missing part. Therefore, you see the Washington Monument, you see the Paris Eiffel Tower, you see all the obelisks on the St. Peter's Square in the Vatican. Yeah, these are all just worship of a not existing pagan religion of the Egyptian Trinity. And you see in that picture not only a beetle, which is similar to the beetle shown in Rosemary's Baby about the Antichrist, but you also see that they are just walking over this crossing here. And this is also just a black and white theme, quite prominent, like a chess board. A checkered floor, which is a prominent signal from Freemasons, which you also saw in the Sharon Tate movie, The Wrecking Crew, with Dean Martin. You saw also a checkered floor. And the legs of the Beatles here are forming MM, which is a synonym for 33. Yeah, nobody who is not initiated or is very busy with that subject would see this symbolism here. But that's actually it. It's just MM. And you can make yourself you can do that experiment yourself. You take the tree of your friends and you try to pass a crossing from left to right, and you try to shoot this picture where everybody is having his legs apart. You won't make it by random. You have to show it on purpose. But you see, every rhythm is different. Every man, every woman has a different size of length and therefore a different time of every step. So this is not by accident. This has been shot on purpose, and this just forms M with the first two legs of George and Paul, and the second M with the legs of Ringo and John. These are all these secret codes, and don't let them fool you, the mass media, and tell you, oh, there are no secret societies, oh, there are no secrets. Yes, there were in former times, in every time, in every period, in every country, there were people who were just withholding informations, and our task is it to put the finger to the things that are really happening. So this is just also reminiscence to Freemasonry. Look at the Abbey Road of the obelisk. This is what they are never showing on any cover of the Beatles. Yeah, this is the obelisk, or this is even a better picture. Yeah, so this is the obelisk standing behind that famous crossing, which is here. Hope you can see that. Yeah, here's that crossing where that lady or whatever with that handbag is passing. Yeah, so that's the big obelisk. This is a Freemason road, Freemason district. And it's not limited to Freemason, because Freemason they are just serving Lucifer at the end of the line, because they are just mixing up the Bible. We have talked about the Kennedy conspiracy sessions, 50 plus sessions about it, that it is supposed to be a Freemason ritual initiated by even higher powers than the Freemasons at all. And going according to the timeline, Bruce Lee died in 1973. This is a picture, actually a movie from Kenneth Anger, who was a follower of that magician Satanist Aleister Crowley, who is making a movie of calling Lucifer Rising, 1972. So extremely close, beginning of the 70s, to the fame of Bruce Lee. And this is the first picture here coming in at 3 seconds. What fools these mortals be? Puck Film International. You can see he's got at least a 5 or an 8-pointed star in that, and it means okay, you are the total fool. It's also interesting in tarot. The first card is not the number 1, which is the magician, but the number 0, or a circle actually, which means the fool, the one who does not know anything. Yeah, and these people can be fooled because they are just watching the movie and they're thinking this is just a movie, but it's not a movie. It's a veneration of images and idols, and Lucifer being the light bearer in Isaiah 14:12, which is extremely interesting when you think about the first session. Yeah, you see the chief aim has something to do with Isaiah 14:12, 5 times I will. Yeah, and it's referring to Lucifer. It's the light bearer, the one who should serve Jesus Christ as being the light of the world, according to John 8:12, and he denied and he wanted to be worshipped himself as the Most High, which means that Lucifer is an impostor, and which means that Lucifer does not want to serve. And this is the same as the definite chief aim with I, Bruce Lee, I will give you the most exciting performance. Yeah, so I will achieve. I will have in my possession. I will lift the way. I will have in my possession $10 million. And it's 5 times I will, like in Isaiah 14:12. This is the book of Isaiah in the Old Testament. I will ascend into heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of God. I will sit upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. So compare that. I will ascend above the height of the clouds with the I will have in my possession $10 million, which means that I am supreme above others. And I have not incorporated here, but I remember myself that Bruce Lee once spoke to his Japanese girlfriend, 1960s, called Amy Sanbo, that he said, yes, I want to overlook Hong Kong Harbor. To be supreme. Or the first time that he saw, I have that remark anywhere with his Rolls Royce. Where is that? Or here. When the Rolls Royce arrives, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive down to the waterfront and call Roman Polanski and Steve McQueen on the car phone. And when they ask where I'm calling from, I'll say from the backseat of my Rolls Royce overlooking the junks in Hong Kong Harbor. It does not mean that somebody is concerned about the poverty of his neighborhood, huh? Or does it? To me, it looks like, or it sounds like somebody says, I am supreme. Yeah, I am supreme. Yeah, I am supreme. I will ascend into heaven. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. That's almost the same that Bruce Lee says, I'm overlooking the junks in Hong Kong Harbor.
Michael, this is the perfect example of vanity. Vainglory. This is the perfect example. Completely taken by the things of this world.
Yes.
Completely.
Yeah. Now we
Look at me. I got a Rolls Royce.
Yeah,
like John Lennon, you know?
Yeah, like or John Lennon, yeah.
Paul McCartney or whatever. I don't know.
Imagine no possessions and then at the same time having a Rolls Royce. Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Right, exactly.
Yeah, you see, this is the reference to Luke 4:4, or 4:5 and 4:6.
Yeah, and the devil taking him to an high mountain showed unto him all the kingdoms of the world in a moment of time. And the devil said unto him, unto Jesus, all this power I will give thee, and the glory of them, for that is delivered unto me, and to whomsoever I will give it. If thou therefore will worship me, all shall be thine. Yeah, that's right.
How obvious must it be?
And to make this statement publicly, you know, he could have kept it to himself.
It's always about, you see, I know exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to drive. I'm calling from. I'll say. Even there is 5 times I.
Isn't that something? Isn't that something?
I have written in the biography of Matthew Polly, Bruce Lee Alive, I have written that Bruce Lee said that he was familiar with the Ave Maria, but I have the sneaking suspicion, Brett, that he was also aware of the chapter Isaiah about Lucifer.
Well, if he wasn't, it's no coincidence, is it?
No, but you see that now everything is pieces of the puzzles. I think they are slowly coming together. Because when you then compare Isaiah 14:12 with Lucifer with his definite chief aim with 5 times I will achieve world fame, and from then onward till the end of 1980 I will have in my possession $10 million. Yeah, so this is materialism, of course, and this has to do with the admiration of Lucifer, and therefore the circle is closing, because Lucifer rising is of course the same as Osiris risen.
Michael, 2 Corinthians 4:3, 4:4.
Just hang on, please.
Yeah. You know this one.
Yeah. The God of this world, I think it is, huh?
4:3 and 4:4.
Yes.
But if our gospel be hid, it is hid to them that are lost, in whom the God of this world hath blinded the minds of them which believe not, lest the glorious gospel of Christ, who is the image of God, should shine unto them. Such a pity. But that's what happens when you fall for the temptation of Satan.
Hmm.
And that's obviously what happened to Bruce Lee,
Yeah.
whether he knew it or not. He probably did know it because he went to Francis Xavier College.
Hmm. And they
But
have
what did-
indoctrinated. They are indoctrinating
Yes.
the children into, you will make it in this world. Yeah, but if you want to make it in this world, it means that you have to serve the God of this world, which is the Mammon or Satan or Lucifer or Osiris. Name any name. The only exception from the rule is that this world will hate you if you will serve the Almighty God and accept his ultimate sacrifice of his only begotten Son, Jesus Christ. And that's the condition. So Satan does not care if you worship Osiris, if you are just worshiping the sun, or who else, or Maria, or any lady, or what else, or action star, or Krishnamurti, or Taoism, as long as you don't believe in Jesus Christ and the Bible. That's the only condition. So
That's the only condition.
Lucifer rising is the same as Osiris risen. Yeah, so therefore, you see that this hand gesture could, his arms were crossed and placed here, could effectively mean that there is something to it. So let's move on. Yeah, you see the similarity here of Lucifer rising. The title is Lucifer rising, but actually it is playing in Egypt. Yeah, and this is the staff. And so the rulership, the acclaimed to be the king, the ruler of Osiris here. And in Lucifer Rising, it's extremely interesting because out of a sudden, at 17 minutes, you see a statue of Buddha. So I told you, they don't care if it is Buddhism, Taoism, Hinduism, Samism, Mary, the sun, an alien encounter, or what else, as long as you don't believe the Bible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so in this picture here, Lucifer Rising, when it comes down to the ritual with candles and with all the engravement, you see clearly Lucifer, but with a V. Yeah, so Lucifer, and the V means also the victory sign of Satan, Lucifer. Lucifer was the old name, Satan now just means adversary. Lucifer, Nui, these are Egyptian goddesses, then Radit, Hadit, Ra-Horkuit, that's also spirit, Chaos, and Babylon, which is of course Babylon, and Lilith is accused of being the first woman of Adam, and it's of course mythology, has nothing to do with the truth and nothing to do with the Bible, and so that is about gender equality, Lilith, yeah, because she refused to lay down while having intercourse with Adam. Yeah, so these are all things which will pop up frequently. Lilith is a so-called goddess in the city of Babylon thousands of years ago, which demanded children as having a sacrifice, and she is also depicted with owls, yeah, which reminds me of our Peter Gabriel sessions. Yeah, and here you see Babylon, which is the name that Crowley gave his Whore of Babylon. Crowley was also being steered, but we will come to this later maybe. And here you see chaos. Yeah, here you see chaos, and that has several meanings. There are some kind of chaos magic, also spelled chaos magic with CK because K is the 11th letter, and Aleister Crowley.
Oh, look at that symbol.
Yeah.
Off to the left. You see that? That's what we call the sign of Anu.
Yeah.
In other words, the mark of Cain.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and this is also magic with the K. K is the 11th letter of the alphabet, so 11 also is a hint to Freemasonry all the time. It has to do with the Bible, but therefore you would have to listen to the conspiracy series. I'm not willing to make a complete script of Freemasonry or something else now. But this is emerging in England in the 1970s. That movie is from 1972, or at least it has been published in 72. It has been made quite long before.
Michael, can I share something with everyone? I saw one of the fellas I worked with last year just got a tattoo with that on his arm. This 8-pointed star on his arm.
Actually, it's a star of
And
Ishtar
he said,
also.
"Oh, it's a sign of protection."
Oh, yeah.
It's like, you've been deceived, dude.
Mm-hmm.
You've just been deceived.
Mm-hmm.
That's no sign of protection.
Mm-hmm.
It's the mark of Cain.
Yeah, Star of Ishtar.
Yeah, Star of Ishtar. Right.
Yeah, the old, you see, then Ishtar is the same as Lilith and all the stuff. These are just names of deities you should worship with the serpent. Yeah, why? Read the Bible and you won't be deceived with all this bullshit in the entire world. Yeah. She had to have sacrifices. It's not been seen here. These are little children.
Mm-hmm.
God should not be like Lilith, who kills her own children. Yeah.
Yeah, now you understand what happened when Moses came down from the mountain and found the golden calf.
Sorry.
Bless you. God bless.
Allergic reaction of all this BS, you see. This is really allergic reaction here.
Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's...
Yeah, it's really... This is shoveling some serious toxic crap.
Yeah. Yeah, and you see, chaos has been mentioned here, and chaos in Aleister Crowley terms, of course, means something else. Oh, you see that all these lies. So you are busy your entire life. Yeah, what Aleister Crowley with chaos magic has to do. Look at his books, your book of lies and all this stuff. I'm not willing to go into this now, but it reminds me, of course, of Operation Chaos was a Central Intelligence Agency, CIA domestic espionage project targeting American citizens operating from 1967 to 1974. That is in the timeline of the Manson murders and of Bruce Lee. Established by President Lyndon B. Johnson, who was a Jesuit, and expanded under President Richard Nixon, whose mission was to uncover possible foreign influence on domestic race, anti-war and other protest movements. So to get rid of the Protestant anti-war movements, because of course there was a war happening in Vietnam.
Richard Helms, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
James Jesus Angleton, also responsible for the cover-up of the John F. Kennedy murders, which was a Freemason ritual.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but
what a name, huh? James Jesus, huh?
Yeah.
It should be James.
It's like being a role model for the Jesuits with that name, huh? Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Project Merrimack, if that is all correct here, designed to infiltrate domestic anti-war and radical organizations thought to pose a threat to security of CIA property and personnel. Yeah, that's what Laura Canyon is all about. Yeah, you deceive them with the music and with the free happenings and free music events. And out of a sudden, brutal murder, including hanging, appears, and everybody says, "Oh, now I got more problems than anti-war Protestants. I'm afraid." Yeah, so that is just fear mongering, Operation Mind Control. The author Richard Condon of The Manchurian Candidate. Walter Bowart uncovered a huge government cryptocracy dedicated to controlling and manipulating human minds. Through hypnosis and drugs, yeah, think of drugs, end of the 60s, ordinary citizens became CIA zombies, human computer spies, trained assassins with no control over or consciousness of their actions. And if you don't believe it, then you're free to believe whatever you like. Yeah, there are people outside who can't remember any of their actions, and in the meantime, when they have no remembrance at all, no memory at all, yeah, they have killed somebody. And this is absolutely comfortable for some governments because they require brainless sheeps. If the Manchurian Candidate, that movie in 1962, I think it was, with Frank Sinatra, was fiction, here is the chilling fact. Yeah, there's a book from Charles Manson, the CIA and the Secret History of the 60s by Tom O'Neill with Dan Piepenbrink. More chaos can be read when Tom O'Neill with Dan Piepenbrink, Chaos, Charles Manson, the CIA and the Secret History of the 60s. Yeah. Coming back to chaos. Operation Chaos. But of course, it would only be a coincidence here, no? Total coincidence. This is also the symbol for a diamond, and this form means also materialistic things, but I don't want to go into every nitty-gritty here. Yeah?
Oh, yeah, like you had pointed out, Michael, you know, there's a jewelry shop across the street from where I live, and they have that that symbol of, the Google Play symbol.
Yeah.
What was the esoteric name for that?
The Google Play logo is the sigil of Lucifer.
The sigil of Lucifer. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they use it on the diamond shops too. It's a typical thing. You know? Yeah. I mean, is this what they're doing when you buy a diamond? You're buying a sigil of Lucifer? Is that the deal? Would make sense, I guess.
Yeah, you see, this entire world is going down.
Yeah, right.
This is the Led Zeppelin member, Jimmy Page, worshipping an image of Aleister Crowley with the steel here, which are not the Ten Commandments, but obviously Egypt. Yeah, Bobby Beausoleil, who was a murderer, who was affiliated with the Manson family. You see, everything comes into nitty-gritty here in that movie picture of Lucifer Rising. Music by Bobby Beausoleil, who is a convicted murderer, at least he is in collaboration with the Manson family. So, that's so much for the symbol of the crossed arms. And if you think that's also total far-fetched and a total fabrication of us, yeah, let's move on. He says, here, Wong Shom Leong, he says, his toes were cramped together. Like his entire body were in cramp. Yeah. Well, and the 10th of May, when he was saved, nobody tells me about cramped arms and legs or so, arms and feet, toes, fingers. But on the 10th of May, he got mannitol, I think just in time. And mannitol does flushing out poison liquid via urine out of the body. And of course, now in this situation at the 20th of July or on the 19th of July, there was nobody there to help him on purpose. Even in the original, in my humble opinion, fabricated story of Betty Ting Pei's apartment, etc., this his own personal game of death script they have written for him to get most likely rid of a competitor in terms of movie production and American cooperation and all the stuff. He then was being safe, but he then wasn't be safe because there was no one around and nobody knows where he died, at least not officially. Officially, he died in Betty Ting Pei's apartment, but timeline does not add up. Many things are being hidden, many things are disclosed. So he said his muscles were all bloated. I suspect that he were in cramp when he died. Sure, yeah. So that he was in cramp, and when he was in cramp, it most likely that he was in pain. As far as I know, he said he has suffered from this illness he had when he was a child. Okay. But the problem is that he's not specific. So, let's move on. It won't help if people don't believe in the Bible, but people just believe in esoteric stuff, in spirituality and all the like. Yeah, because if you channel something, then you channel a spirit, but not a good spirit, but an evil spirit, and they can tell you any story you like. Yeah, so it is not Bruce who's telling a story when you just channel something, but it is somewhere or something else. Yeah, so when somebody comes up with a channeling session, they said, oh yeah, that was injection by hydrochloride. Hydrogen chloride is highly soluble in water, forming hydrochloric acid. And that is an old mean to get to when you overdose it. I think that has been at least done with several celebrities before in the 1960s. But I think that is just only a hint. But this source, of course, and it's not Tom Bleecker. Tom Bleecker is just here telling a story out of memory that he was just once in contact with somebody who claimed to be a medium and was in a spiritual seance or so, and he was just channeling Bruce Lee, which is, of course, impossible because the Bible says that the dead don't know nothing.
Oh, it's Ecclesiastes 9:5.
Yes, me too.
Mhm.
Come on.
Yes, for the living know that they shall die, but the dead know not anything, neither have they any more reward, for the memory of them is forgotten.
So if you then just copy and paste the Bible here into this, you know that you can't rely on any spirit, if that was a spirit, that the dead know not anything. So yeah, it's not Bruce Lee that somebody is talking to. Okay, let's get further. Hydrochloride is a hydrochloride acid, as known as spirit of salt, is an aqueous solution of hydrogen chloride with the chemical formula HCl. It is a colorless solution and is classified as a strong acid. It is a component of gastric acid in the digestive system of most animal species, including humans. Hydrochloride acid is an important laboratory reagent and industrial chemical. Yeah. So, which is, I found interesting when you combine that with cocaine.
Oh, really?
Cocaine, from French cocaine, from Spanish coca, ultimately from quechua, a tropane alkaloid that acts as a central nervous system stimulant. As an extract, it is mainly used recreationally and often illegally for its euphoric and rewarding effect. It is also used in medicine by indigenous South Americans, not Asians, for various purposes and rarely, but more formally, as a local anesthetic by medical practitioners in more developed countries. It is primarily obtained from the leaves of two coca species native to South America, Erythroxylum coca and E. novogranatense. After extraction from the plant and further processing into cocaine hydrochloride. If you go to hydrochloride, maybe the first information would be that it is a cocaine hydrochloride, which is powdered cocaine. The drug is administered by either snorted, applied topically to the mouth, or dissolved and injected into a vein. And let me add something which you find extremely odd and vulgar now. But I have come across the fact lately, last week when I was investigating this, that some people are doing it inside their rectum.
Mhm. Right.
This means, yeah, this could be one explanation, yeah, why there were hemorrhages, yeah, there were blood leaks, or how to pronounce that now in English here, of the rectum of Bruce Lee. Yeah, maybe somebody has injected cocaine that way. I don't know. I just want to have something which makes sense in common sense. No? So, plugging, also known as a booty bump, occurs when a person administers cocaine or a mix of other drugs directly into the rectum. In the last session, you have seen a book from Viktor Ostrovsky, The Other Side of Deception, when somebody, or at least allegedly the Israeli Secret Service called the Mossad, had injected in the rectum of a German politician, Uwe Barschel. Oh, come on, please. What
Suppositories.
Fever suppositories.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that would be one possibility. It can also be turned into freebase form, typically crack cocaine, in which it can be heated until sublimated and then vapors can be inhaled. Cocaine hydrochloride. There is a book from the Spanish teacher, Mr. Rizzo, The Death of Bruce Lee, La Muerte de Bruce Lee, who is describing that he thinks that Bruce Lee died of an overdose of cocaine. So you can also have injected an overdose of cocaine. You know that Linda Lee has claimed that she has bought a gram measurer. So it would also be a plausible case of an overdose of cocaine. And if somebody comes up and said, well, these are just only allegations because nobody can prove a thing, that is because the autopsy did take place days later, so that there is no chance to detect that cocaine anymore. According to my humble knowledge, it is just only digestible or just indicatable a few hours after somebody took it. And if you delay somebody to rush to the hospital, maybe Bruce Lee was 6 hours dead, 8 hours dead, 10 hours dead, who knows? Who knows? That interesting channel session, how hilarious and funny it might seem, he says here, Tom Bleeker says, there's some big drug dealing in the middle of all that caused his death. Yeah, well, you see that if the triads are not only busy with the movie business, but also in drugs, who wonders? Because Bruce Lee had smuggled, at least according to these on the flea market discovered drug letters, he has smuggled drugs into Hong Kong, which is an absolute no-go. Not only that it is illegal, but it would also be peep of the triads because they don't make any money with the drugs that they are dealing with. So it's a big kick in the face or a kick in the butt of the triads as well, because they are in the business of drug dealing in Hong Kong. And maybe because most likely Bruce Lee didn't want to get in touch with the triads on the triads business, he asked his American so-called friend Bob Baker to smuggle the drugs into Hong Kong, so that the triads are out of business also in this business, and not only in the movie business, but that he's not in touch with the triads. That's at least my theory at the moment. Monday, July the 13th, 10 days after the official date of dying of Bruce Lee. U.S. funeral parlor worker stated that his hands and feet were blackened. This is a common side effect, Popcorn Master says. This is a common side effect of arsenic poisoning. And there you go. Arsenic poisoning is a medical condition that occurs due to the elevated levels of arsenic in the body. If arsenic poisoning occurs over a brief period of time, which would explain the deceased muscles condition of Bruce Lee, his mood swings together with cocaine maybe, that he wasn't unaware that he has been poisoned over a longer period of time, that would make only the closest people in his circle very, very suspicious. Speaking, of course, of the people who have cooked for Bruce Lee, most likely Wu Nugan, his butler. And all the other people you can you think of who were living closely together with Bruce Lee. I hope that you get my point. Symptoms may include vomiting, and we know that he vomited spaghetti on May the 10th incident. Abdominal pain, encephalopathy, watery diarrhea that contains blood. Long-term exposure can result in thickening the skin, darker skin, which has been described by many people on the Enter the Dragon set, abdominal pain, diarrhea, heart disease, numbness, and cancer. The most common reason for long-time exposure is contaminated drinking water. Groundwater most often becomes contaminated naturally. However, contamination may also occur from mining or agriculture. Yeah, gene manipulation everywhere, huh? Through drinking water, think of India and their cult of this washing in the river and all the stuff. More than 200 people globally are exposed to higher than safe levels of arsenic. The areas are mostly Bangladesh and West Bengal, and I would suggest also India. The toxicity of arsenic has been described as far back as 1500 before Christ. Somebody says, first of all, Bruce Lee was threatened on set multiple times and failed. Correct me if I'm wrong, but Brandon D died on set by what was supposed to be a blank gun with a real bullet. Obviously, someone close who he and his son was working with set him up. I cannot believe, I never have believed that Bruce died of medicine. And you know what's funny? Not once did that guy mention that he got most killed on set, and even regarded possibility of assassination attempts inside. He points the finger to the medicine or his work, etc. Yes. Yeah. Somebody says the real truth is Betty was slowly poisoning Bruce over a long period of time. That can't be true, because Betty did not have that much access to him. Bruce didn't have any issues with his health until he filmed Enter the Dragon. When he was filming Enter the Dragon was when his affair with Betty started. This is not true. His affair started when he was in Rome. There are pictures with Betty in Rome. And he has fainted. I know, at least I have read that. But he was not deeply comatose. He did not vomit, and he was not rushed to the hospital. So, sorted things out. Somebody says, and now it gets really interesting, a strange foreshadowing. The Chinese Connection, title, hence the title in the States, The Chinese Connection, which was Fist of Fury. The Chinese Connection is in relation to the French Connection, which is about drugs. The French Connection served an Oscar, I think it was for Gene Hackman, in 1971 or 72. Didn't the teacher in that movie, Fist of Fury, didn't teacher die by poisoning? Lo Wei, who was also directing this film, played the role of the detective on Chen, so Bruce Lee's trail. Bruce is Chen here and Lo Wei is the inspector. Chen, Bruce Lee discovers that two Japanese infiltrators played a part in poisoning his teacher, but what's not immediately obvious to Western audiences is how Bruce Lee achieved this by noticing the difference, and that it has to do with Japanese clothing and all the stuff. But this is the entry here, 26 seconds into Bruce Lee's Fist of Fury, which is in the United States called The Chinese Connection. I quote from that movie. Our story begins with the death of Ho Yuan-chia, a legendary Chinese hero famous for his victories over Russia's champion wrestler and Japan's Bushido experts. He was poisoned. By whom? For what? It was not known for certain, but there has been speculation. Here we offer the most popular version. Then let's look it up, what our favorite information source Wikipedia has to tell about. It is about Ho Yuan-chia. So Ho Yuan-chia, this is a little bit different pronunciation, but so be it. Courtesy name Jung Qing was a Chinese martial artist and co-founder of Jinwu Athletic Association, a martial arts school in Shanghai. A practitioner of the martial art Mitsongi, who was considered a hero for China for defeating foreign fighters in highly publicized matches at a time when Chinese sovereignty was being eroded by foreign imperialism. And that is, of course, the theme for Fist of Fury. Remember when Bruce Lee on his own is beating up all the students in a Japanese karate school, also including with the help of his nunchucks. Due to his heroic status, the legends and myths surrounding events in his life are difficult to discern from facts. So that is the man. Rise to fame. In 1902, Huo responded to a challenge advertised by a Russian wrestler, Ji Juang Park Tianjin. The wrestler openly called the Chinese sick man of Asia. And there you have the direct reference of that famous so-called present from the Japanese school to the Chinese Kung Fu school, where it has been then here indicated what we can't decipher, but what's been said in the movie. It's called The Sick Man of Asia. So the movie of Fist of Fury, English title, The Chinese Connection, is a direct reference to this famous wrestler or martial artist, Hu Yuan-chia. There is no other way around. This is the direct reference, Sick Man of Asia. And that's what this Japanese guy here has to swallow. Bruce Lee is then beating up the entire school, is then crashing that sign which he had returned to that school, and then he's rolling up the paper and stuffing it into the mouth of that Japanese who had to swallow this paper, that the Chinese are the sick men of Asia. So that is when all the Chinese audience, when they saw that movie in the cinema, they went furious, like Fist of Fury. And Bruce Lee was the big hero because he was reinstalling the Chinese fame or proudness and what else. So the wrestler in that real case openly called the Chinese Kung Fu men sick men of Asia because no one accepted his challenge to a fight. The Russian forfeited when Hu accepted this challenge and told Hu that he was merely putting on a performance to make a living and apologized for his earlier remark in the newspaper. Between 1909 and 1910, Hu traveled to Shanghai twice to accept an open challenge posed by an Irish boxer, Hercules O'Brien. The two of them had arguments over the rules governing such boxing matches and eventually agreed that whoever knocked down his opponent would be the victor. O'Brien fought Hu and lost. Hu's victory was a great inspiration to the Chinese people and had them questioning the basis of imperialistic dominance. However, there is a lot of controversy over whether the fight ever took place. A recent article states that O'Brien opted to leave town instead, which of course leaves then our Chinese martial arts as the victor. Huh? So afterwards he founded the Chinwu Physical Training Center. Was meant to be a school for learning the arts of self-defense and improvement of health and mind. Hu suffered from jaundice and tuberculosis and started seeing a Japanese physician for medication and treatment. The physician, who was a member of the Japanese Judo Association in Shanghai, invited Hu to a competition upon hearing of the latter's fame. Hu's student Liu Xiaocheng competed with a judo practitioner. That's close to the name that Bruce Lee had in that movie. Although there were disputes over who won the match, both sides generally agreed that the disagreement culminated in a brawl and that members of the judo team were injured, some with broken fingers and hands, including the head instructor. Hu died in 1910 at the age of 42. The historian Chen Gongse, who was also one of Hu's students, believed that the cause of his master's death was hemoptysis disease. Chen wrote that Hu was introduced to a Japanese physician by the judo instructor as his health declined. The physician prescribed some medicine for his condition, but Hu's health continued to deteriorate. Hu was admitted to the Shanghai Red Cross Hospital, where he died 2 weeks later. And of course the allegation goes to that Japanese physician. Hence the start of Fist of Fury, the Chinese connections. He was poisoned by, most likely, that Japanese physician. Yeah, so maybe, just maybe, that was the Japanese physician who was also member of the Japanese Judo Association. Yeah, so a physician who was member of a Judo Association. Yeah. And that's what this movie from Fist of Fury from Bruce Lee with the director of Lo Wei, who is a triad boss, Lo Wei, and who was threatened by Lee with a knife close to 14 days before the death of Bruce Lee, is all about. Yeah. In the original script, Lo Wei, the director, who's playing here the inspector, tells Bruce Lee in that movie, "No more lies, you will leave the school alone, you have my word on it, don't worry, on my word of honor." And the word of honor is resulting in facing off all these people with guns here, and then Bruce Lee is going out of his school and then makes a flying kick, and then you hear the sound of several guns firing up. Then you can suppose that he did not survive, which is very interesting because Lo Wei's word is not worth a penny. Yeah, you have my word on it. You will leave the school alone. Don't worry, on my word of honor. Yeah, you see that Lo Wei is lying in his character to Bruce Lee in Fist of Fury when it is about the poisoning of Bruce Lee's teacher. So that many people assume it has something to do with the death of Bruce Lee, especially when he has threatened the director and the inspector in that movie Fist of Fury several days later. And there's much more to it, because that scene has been used in Game of Death. And then Bruce Lee's character has been shot, not with a blank, but with a real bullet, and therefore he had a face operation and all the stuff. That's the content of a Game of Death, and that's what happened to his son, Brandon Lee, close to 20 years later in 1993, that he was being shot at the set of The Crow instead of a blanket with a real bullet, and he did not survive. He did die in the hospital. Official story. And it's all culminating here in that second movie, Fist of Fury, English title The Chinese Connection. Chen Ye is Bruce Lee. Yeah, and the inspector has been played by Lo Wei. Which is interesting because Lo Wei is also the head of a triad. Getting deeper. Although Chen did not mention that the medicine prescribed by the Japanese physician contained arsenic or any other poison. Some leaders of the Jinwu Athletic Association speculated that Hu was poisoned around the time of his death. Comes from this book, Jinwu. In 1989, Hu's and his wife's graves were excavated and their remains were located elsewhere. Black spots were discovered in Hu's pelvic bones. The Tianjin Municipality Police Laboratory confirmed that they contained arsenic. However, it is difficult to ascertain whether Hu's death was caused by malicious poisoning or by the prescription of medicine. This was because the arsenic trioxide has been used therapeutically for approximately 2,400 years as part of traditional Chinese medicine. Remember the quote of Grandmaster Ed Parker in the book Unsettled Matters, who said that, these Chinese herbalists have many, many herbs for medicine and they also have herbs for poisoning. Which leads to the conclusion the Chinese connection in the States didn't teach her die by poisoning. Yeah, you see? U.S. funeral parlor worker stated that his hands and feet were blackened. This is a common side effect of arsenic poisoning, which doesn't cause cerebral edema. Application of arsenic trioxide for the treatment of lupus nephritis. So it can be a medicine, but in special concentration or maybe in combination with other stuff, it is just poison, arsenic trioxide. Wikipedia tells you, under the brand name Trisenox, is an inorganic compound and medication. It is used in the manufacture of wood preservatives, pesticides, and glass. As a medication, it is used to treat a type of cancer known as acute promyelocytic leukemia. For this use, it is given by injection to a vein. Common side effects include vomiting, diarrhea, swelling, interesting, shortness of breath, and headaches. And what did Bruce Lee had? He had headache. Due to its toxicity, a number of countries have regulations around its manufacture and sale. So don't come up with too much water. Too much water. You see, everybody has his own theory. Although there were no apparent outward wounds, Lee's brain had significantly enlarged, going from 1,400 to 1,575 grams, a 13% increase according to post-mortem records. A quadric was detected in his body during the autopsy. Why 13%? Can you guess? Can you guess all the lies when it comes down to, that passengers jets, they have no pressurized cargo areas? That Andrew Morgan told us. That must be a strange 747 Boeing then. And that 747 leveled off at 38,000 feet, which is adding up to 11, 3 plus 8. But what do I know? What do I know?
That's right.
When the crate opened in Seattle, it was discovered that the coffin had ripped against the lead lining during transport, severely marring the exterior. When the casket was opened, Andrew Morgan saw that the white silk interior had been stained blue from blue suits. Maybe it has been stained black from any other problem. The study only found that it was a cerebral edema, what caused the martial arts instructor Bruce Lee passed away in Hong Kong. Passed away in Hong Kong. He's as famous in death as he was in life. And you see here the dragon and you see Bruce Lee. And that has nothing to do with an obelisk. Sure. It's interesting because now you see, Arsenic trioxide is used to treat a type of cancer, and now University of Hong Kong developed a liquid form of arsenic trioxide that can be given by mouth. Interesting, that is speciality of Hong Kong, huh? My, it has to be something to do with traditional Chinese medicine, I guess. Yeah, that these are really experts in herbal medicine for the good and the bad. Yeah, oral arsenic trioxide in the treatment of relapsed acute promyelocytic, what else? Leukemia.
Leukemia is cancer of the blood.
Yeah. Despite the well-known toxicity of arsenic trioxide was used in traditional Chinese medicine, where it is known as Piu Chang, arsenic frost. In homeopathy, it is called arsenic album. Some discredited patent medicines, Fowler's solution contains derivates of arsenic trioxide. Yeah. Chronic arsenic poisoning is known as arsenicosis. Long-time ingestion of arsenic trioxide, either in drinking water or at medical treatment, can lead to skin cancer. Yeah. See, everybody tells me that during Enter the Dragon his skin was altering. Of Bruce Lee. Yeah, we're doing some... Arsenic also is a compound found in alchemical substances. So, my. Historical use. Arsenic has long been notorious as a murderous poison. It has been by far the most widely used poison since late antiquity. The ironic French term poudre de succession, inheritance powder, for arsenic is derived from this use as a poison, as is the German term old seed powder. Many historical poison mixtures, such as aqua tofana, contained arsenic as essential. Regular consumption does not reduce the dose of the human organism to the gift, but the absorption through the mucous membrane is significantly reduced. Okay, as a conspiracy with poison powder in ancient Latin text, an assassination attempt on a prince, if one wanted to avoid bloodshed, is called conioratio pulveraria, also conspiracy with poison powder. Such attack was made on Margrave Jacob III in 1519. For centuries, arsenic could not be detected chemically. If the murderer uses the largest dose since the 16th century, the murder was hard to prove to him. As late as 1840, 90 to 95% of all poisonings were due to the use of arsenic. After the introduction of marsh probe in 1836, the number of arsenic assassinations soon decreased. Symptoms: vomiting, diarrhea. As it was slow-acting, it allowed victims time to prepare for their death, including writing a will and repenting. The antidote often given was vinegar and lemon juice. The legend that Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was poisoned using aqua tofana is completely unsubstantiated, even though it was Mozart himself who started this rumor. It was easily accessible. It was often used as an insect, mouse, or rat poison in the form of mouse butter. There's so much coming up. In popular culture, the life of that Chinese martial arts hero has also been portrayed by Jet Li, by Bruce Lee in Fist of Fury, of course, as Chen Sen, and as Jet Li in Fearless. From the book The Manchurian Candidate, we hear the quote: "Without questioning, murdering a man was a decisive way to influence his behavior, and OSS, so the Office of Strategic Services, the forerunner of the CIA scientists, developed an arsenal of chemical and biological poisons that included the incredible potent botulinus toxin, whose delivery system was a gelatine capsule smaller than the head of a pin." So this is chemical and biological warfare. During the early part of World War II, the Japanese had dropped deadly germs on China and caused epidemics and throughout the war. Oh, doesn't that remind us of 2019? Alan Turing, the British mathematician who then had to break the code of the German submarines of their Enigma machines, apparently committed suicide by injecting an apple with cyanide and taking a bite, though it has been speculated that the poisoning was accidental. So this is a list of poisoning. Erwin Rommel, a German general during the Second World War, Eva Hitler, the alleged wife of Adolf Hitler, the 6 Goebbels children, Hermann Göring, all these Nazis have officially been poisoned by cyanide, not by arsenic, by cyanide. Cyanide, yeah? Tycho Brahe, Danish astronomer, alleged. We know that story of Kepler and Tycho Brahe. The Pope Pius VIII in 1830. And Charles Darwin, maybe, the English naturalist, possibly, or Freemason, of the son of his grandfather being Freemason, possibly died due to self-medication with Fowler solution. Who knows? And Pope John Paul I, alleged, 1978, the 33-day Pope. Yeah. The 33-day Pope who wanted to...
33-day Pope, yeah.
Yeah, the 33-day Pope. Yeah, which of course has something to do... Yeah, when somebody is ruling 33 days, it has 33 as a numerical symbolism of the Freemason Scottish Rite. Cary Grant, Arsenic and Old Lace is an American black comedy film by Frank Capra, who is a Roman Catholic to the core. Frank Capra also made this It's a Wonderful Life about that Christmas story of that angel Clarence. Oh, yeah, starring Cary Grant. Yeah, Arsenic. Richard Morris wrote a book of The Last Sorcerers, The Path from Alchemy to the Periodic Table. Yeah, the discovery of the elements. At the beginning of the 17th century, 13 elements were known. 9, carbon, sulfur, iron, copper, silver, gold, tin, lead, and mercury, had been discovered in ancient times. 4 more, arsenic, antimony, bismuth, and zinc, were discovered between around 1250 and 1500. It is not by chance that 11 of the 13 are metals. Oh, look at the numerology here. My. It's really interesting if you really go down that path of arsenic. Yeah. And now look at the atomic number, Brett, of arsenic.
Yeah, that's right. It's 33.
Yeah, and that's why I came up with the idea it could be really arsenic involved, because that would fit the narrative.
Yes.
That would fit my narrative.
Mm-hmm.
What we will do is special sessions about that. So please have faith in God and Jesus Christ, and not in this world coming up with all these lies. This was just the so-called first part of the research into poisoning. What's it all about? There will be coming up things that you would not expect, that I would not have expected when I started the research. I hope that you gain some knowledge from it, and I hope that you still have your time to read your Bible. And thanks for Brett for accompanying me on this Sunday here. So thanks for having me, and see you next time. We are really into full force now into the investigation of Bruce Lee, and also the people behind the scene, behind the curtains. I cannot wait until the next session comes up, and I hope that you will look forward to it too. So handing it over to my beloved brother Brett once again, and see you next time. Maranatha.
Yeah, thanks, Michael. You know, it's interesting what you said, that there are puppeteers behind the scene, and they created the puppet of Bruce Lee to serve a purpose. And we're seeing what that purpose is and was. And, hopefully it helps. And it'll help you to see that a lot of the things of this world are not what they appear to be, including the whole, what do you call that? I don't know. I've never really looked into anything to do with martial arts, Michael. It's something that's been kind of far off my radar. I really never had interest in it, really. Was never really interested in fighting too much. Something, my brother was better at it than me, I think. But at the same token, we're men and we're supposed to fight, aren't we? So we're not supposed to be afraid. We need to stand our ground, hold others responsible for their actions. So I really appreciate it, Michael, taking the time to do the research, and we'll look forward to the next session, God willing. Catch you then. Bye-bye.